So here's a little video about the idea of alignment. What is alignment? For many thousands of years, many different cultures have looked up to the heavens at night and observed the stars, the planets, the different constellations. And throughout this process, they have noticed various different patterns in the astral bodies. When certain stars come into alignment, they have particular effects on seasons, or they at least correlate with different seasons here on Earth. So from this idea, we've got from the ancients this concept that alignment plays a significant role in things that happen on Earth. And so out of this idea, you've got a whole lot of other ideas, like alignment of the body. If your spine is out of alignment, then you experience pain and you experience all kinds of problems with your posture, with your walking, all kinds of things go wrong. You could look at the alignment of wheels on a car, where if they're out of alignment, you're going to have an uneven wear on the tires and you're going to have mechanical problems with your vehicle. This idea of alignment's everywhere in life. And if you look at the world, you look at the world around us, you can imagine the natural way of things to be kind of like a river. The natural way of the universe, the natural laws that are around us, to be kind of like this river. Your life is kind of like this river. And this river's going in one particular direction. And what a lot of people do is they try and take control over their life and they try and thrash in the opposite direction of the river. They try and swim upstream. And what ends up happening is, although these people might seem to get a particular way along their journey, they might seem to make some progress up against the river, they might be very impressive, they might look like they're succeeding. Over time, what ends up happening to these people is they wear themselves out because they're fighting the natural flow of life. They're fighting those natural laws of nature. They end up exhausting themselves and causing all kinds of problems in their life. I used to be like that. But you see, when we get into flow with what life is really doing, and we swim with the river, we don't have to exert nearly anywhere as much effort. We can just kind of cruise down that river. And a lot of people might look at that and go, well, that's being really lazy. If you start to get into flow with what your life is really doing, other people might look at you and go, you're being lazy. But I say you're being intelligent. For me personally, when I started to get into the flow of my own life, everything started to become easier. Everything started to naturally fall into place. And then when you're doing that, when you're flowing with where life's taking you, that's not to say you can't steer your life. It's not to say you don't have any control over the direction of your life. But what ends up happening is you come into alignment with what your life is doing and everything starts to naturally fall into place. Things just seem to work out. So how do you get yourself into alignment? And how do you know when you're not in alignment? Well, for me, one of the ways I could tell that I wasn't in alignment was I was experiencing a lot of resistance. There was some work that I used to do. I've worked in a lot of different places. I've done a lot of different things. And each time I got to a certain point in my career where things started to feel like they were just too hard. And I'm not saying that I wasn't working hard and I just needed to work harder. I'm saying that I was working hard and I was enjoying that work up until a certain point. But once I reached this certain point, it was just like the extra work didn't mean anything more to me. It was just like extra effort didn't result in any extra pleasure, any extra enjoyment, and the work became dull. And I started meeting all this resistance. Like I physically didn't have the energy to do the work that I used to do. Some of the work that I used to be really enthusiastic about, I lost all my enthusiasm for it and things just started to go wrong. Started to have certain conflicts with people, or my car would break down, or I'd get sick. This would happen, that would happen. I'd run out of money, like I'd have some kind of financial issue happen. Relationships would flare up out of nowhere. And it's these little clues that life subtly gives us that show us when we're out of alignment. And the more we try and fight against that, the more we're resisting that natural flow of life, the more we're trying to swim up the river, the more resistance we meet, the more that shows us we're coming out of alignment. So I want to make that distinction there. Being in alignment is not about being lazy. It's about being intelligent and aware of what the real you, the deeper you, or some might say the higher self you, really wants to do in your life. And when you fight that, you're in resistance and you're going to end up wearing yourself out. You're not going to have fun at all. So how do you bring yourself into alignment? Well, one of the first things you need to do is develop the awareness of when things just aren't working out. When things just aren't working out. You might be in a job that no matter how much extra work you put in, no matter how much you try and amp yourself up and become more enthusiastic about it, which is what I used to try and do, you just can't get the energy that you used to have towards that work. Could be a relationship. No matter how much effort, time, commitment you pour into that relationship, there's nothing good coming back out of that. And I wouldn't say just go and quit your relationship as soon as you meet the first sign of difficulty. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like that deep feeling of discomfort, that lack of peace that happens. That would be an example showing you that perhaps you're out of alignment in that relationship. So the first step to coming into alignment is developing awareness of what the real you really wants on the deepest level. And the easiest way to do that is to become silent, to become quiet. And you can just simply meditate. And this can take a bit of practice if you haven't done much meditation before. You can simply put yourself into a position where you're stilling your mind, where you're becoming quiet, and you're listening to that deeper part of you, that intuitive part of you, to see what that says. And what's often going to come up is the intuitive part of you will give you a feeling or an impression of what you really should be doing. And chances are that's going to be your path of alignment. So the more you can learn to listen to that, the more you're going to find it easy to come into your path of alignment. So from that point, there's a few other things you can do, which I'll cover further in future videos. But I just wanted to share, what is alignment? What is it all about? What does it look like to be in alignment? Because for me, recently, my life has shifted from going from that real struggling, trying harder, always working harder place to simply coming into alignment where things are becoming a lot easier. And I'm finding myself a lot more energized than I used to be when I was over here just trying to struggle to make things work. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Please share it with a friend who you think would get something from that. Thanks for watching.